folks, Jason here again, and it's been a little while since an update. In fact, I'm looking 3 weeks almost. So it's the end of February, or I'm sorry, April 2015, and I wanted to do an update on the Great Bolt Action Paint Off. This will actually be the last update before I pull together what I managed to accomplish in the 2 months, I guess, actually. The competition's been going on. So, first off, I just want to thank British Legion and Miniature Maniacs for all the work they did, and I will thank them again in the final video. But for this one, it's kind of the final showcase of what I've done over the past 3 weeks. And I have to say up front, before I put anything down, that I won't say my motivation fell off. Kind of life got in the way. I had a lot of travel for work, and you know, sometimes you just hit a bit of a hobby bump, and life gets in the way, and that's what happens. So I didn't finish everything that I wanted to for the paint off, but I got pretty close, I think. So you don't need to hear me ramble anymore. This isn't a ramble video, this is an update video. So let's kind of go through what I did get done and kind of wrap this up. And then before Wednesday or Thursday, I guess, I need to get the old photo booth out and actually do photos and do a showcase video because I am entering into the competition. So, without further ado, so where did we leave off last time? I believe, and I'm looking at my list here, I had to make some alterations just because of kits weren't available, or I decided to go take the Army in a different direction. So I did have some alterations to the list, but the first thing I said I was going to do next, looking on the list, was another late war infantry squad. And I said I think I had to do 11, because I had done 5 before as the test models. Well, what actually ended up happening was, if you remember back, and you can go back and look in the older video, I have done, inadvertently, the two-tone paint scheme for the Wehrmacht uniform. So the early war paint scheme, where they kind of had, so it was the greenish top, but then the gray pants. And I kind of realized that afterward, and it didn't look like the Panzergrenadiers that I had done, so I ended up actually just repainting. I didn't have to paint everything on the older models, but this is a problem kind of when you break up painting units. Sometimes your paints mix a little differently, or you forget exactly the breakdown that you had, especially if you're doing some highlights like I was. And then the paint schemes to try everything match up. So I ended up actually painting 16. Let's see, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit more. Obviously, I'm not going to get everything perfect. So here's the first squad. I'll back the camera up here a little bit. Apologize for shaky camera. And so I did one. These are just my 2 basic squads. I've kind of got my my butt-kicking squads, or what I think will be the butt-kicking squad, with the assault rifles that you saw before. Those guys will be, and so these guys are just, so there'll be 2 8-man squads with a Panzer, Faust, and LMG, and a lieutenant, or NCO. One of the NCOs of the units has assault, or a submachine gun, this guy, and the other one just has a rifle. So what I did with these guys, so just a simple paint scheme. I'm not going to kind of go over everything that I did. I'm going to focus really quick here, though. Maybe. I did use the decals, and I actually finished those up tonight. And let me say, decals are a pain in the ass. Sorry about the language, but man, they're just not a lot of fun. Let me see how much I can do with this camera here. Not much. So I gave these guys the highest rank. So that decal actually wasn't too bad. I'm going to put this guy down really quick and pick up another model. So the other thing that you can do, and somebody recommended that I do this, and I did, it wasn't a lot of fun, was to do the helmet decals. They aren't all lined up perfectly, but you've got one on each side of the helmet. One is kind of the eagle with the swastika, the other side, I guess, are the colors of the Wehrmacht. So in all the plain helmets, I added those. I didn't do any of the rank because by the end of the evening, I just got, those are some tiny, tiny decals. Not a lot of fun. So Here's the first, focus it back. Here's the first squad done. So that's the first 8. So let me pick these guys up really quick. And so just so you don't have to watch or listen to me pick up models, I'm still pretty pleased. I guess I can do, now that I've assembled 16 of them, I think the basic Warlord Infantry squad they're a good set of models. I'm not 100%. Sometimes they look a little, they're not as crisp as the metal models, or I think the new Panzergrenadiers that they have, because those are just some awesome looking models. So I think he's got a nice progression. And then I've got another squad here, which is essentially the same, except the NCO has, and I'll show him, has a rifle, which probably wasn't the best choice, but that was how I modeled it. I'm not going to go back and fix it now because I painted them. So again, I added the shoulder stripes, and this is actually one of the first guys I painted. I went through and I fixed his pants so they match the top of the outfit to make it look a little bit more late war, because what I decided to do with the Force, and I kind of went back and forth on what I was going to do. I thought about doing Gross Deutschland for the division, because what I wanted to have is have access to a lot of different armored vehicles, and a lot of the German Panzer divisions didn't have a full accoutrement of everything you could have. So what I decided to go instead was Panzer Lehr. Panzer Lehr, Lehr is German for teacher, so essentially it was kind of it was a division that mostly fought on the Western Front. I think it might have fought exclusively on the Western Front, that kind of got the cream of the crop. It was the only division, I believe, only Wehrmacht division, Heer division, that got all of its infantry had access to motorized / mechanized vehicles. And even though they're not particularly competitive in the game, I wanted to run a lot of Hanemags because they look cool and they're just iconic looking vehicles. So I decided to go that. So I'm going to run a veteran force. So all of my infantry units will be veteran. In fact, everything in the force I think is going to be veteran. Now, bolt action players would say that's dumb. You don't need to make like your mortar team veterans. I'm making a veterans. One, because it means I have to paint less models, but two, it's themey, it's fluffy, and it's kind of what I like to do. So that's why I decided to go with the force the way I did. That's a later war division, which is why I wanted some uniformity between the 3 infantry squads. So I've got the one 10-man squad that if I wanted to, I can make it an 8-man, and then I can have a couple extra guys floating around to go around with my officers. So let me scroll down the list here and see what I was supposed to do next. So after that, I was supposed to do the STUG. And I told you before that after my problems with the resin models with the Opel, I actually sold the STUG on eBay. And I was hoping that the new plastic one was going to come out, and it didn't. So I actually bought a Panther tank, and I wasn't able to get it done. So the STUG didn't get done. And then the next after that was going to be the Kradschützen, the motorcycle with the sidecar, and an 81mm mortar. So the medium mortar, I guess. I decided not to do the Kradschützen because that's an early, apparently by the end of the war they didn't really use a lot of motorcycles in the force. So I skipped that, but I did finish the mortar. And that's this guy. Oops, that's the focus, not the zoom. So, cool kit. I like doing a lot of foliage. Okay, I set it up so it's kind of pointing this way. And so, if you're looking at line of sight, not that I will block, oops, already losing bushes. Not that I'm going to do kind of cheaty stuff and so you can't see it, but that's how you set the mortar up behind a bush because you don't need to see over it. I think it went together pretty well. Same basing style, same bushes. I didn't go too crazy with detail on the guys, but I think for what it is, let me see if I can zoom in anymore. There we go. I think they came out looking good, and the paint scheme matches everything else. The one thing that's going to weird me out is if you can see the size of the mortar shell and the size of the tube, there's no way that thing's fitting in there. but I guess that's what happens when you have heroic scale 28 millimeter. No, I think this looks good. So there's the mortar. And let me scroll down a little bit. So a couple things I didn't get done. Then after that, I was supposed to do the Puma, which I did. And then I was supposed to do a Pioneer squad. I just got burned out in infantry, and I just like doing vehicles because I can get those done a lot sooner. Looking back, though, what I decided to do, I'm doing this out of order, I'm sorry. One of the things that the special rules that the Germans have in the game, I think the Germans kind of get shortchanged by Warlord. They don't get a lot of awesome special rules, but one of the things is their light and medium machine guns get to roll an extra die, Hitler's buzzsaw. So instead of doing the crowd shoots, and what I decided to do was an MMG team. And one, because I think every military should have them, and two, because the Germans are even better, and I like the kits. So in exchange for the motorcycle, I threw these guys together. So the only kind of team weapon that I don't have right now is a sniper, and I can just probably make that out of extra parts I've got hanging around. But, once again, I tried to set it up so it would look, you'll have the MMG pointing out between the bushes. The guy's over here just sticking his head up enough so he can kind of be a spotter. So I did model them all in one base, and if, they take casualties, so be it. I'll just put a die next to it. But I like the diorama nature of a lot of these. So again, I think I kind of painted these all toward the end, so the paint schemes were pretty similar. I'm not sure if they're dead on perfect, but I did like the way they came out. So that was kind of a trade for the not doing the crowd shoots in. So after that, I said, and I'm rambling a bit, I didn't do the Pioneer squad. I'd like to eventually, for the reason what I did next only makes sense. I just didn't feel like cracking through another 10-man squad of infantry. Although the Pioneers are pretty cool because you can get the flamer and all the other cool stuff. So I didn't do the Pioneers, but what I did do, I'm not sure why I did this. I did the Pionierwagen. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Like I said, and you've heard me say this a bunch of times, I like painting vehicles. And so I had this kit. I don't know why, I didn't have a plastic henna mag. I just had bought this kit because I like Pioneers. And so with this kit, you get the resin, I guess the bridge laying stuff. You can see on the inside, it comes with some resin inserts with a bunch of gear that engineers would have. So I like that. And then it comes with the light AT gun. So you lose you might lose all of the transport capability. You might have like a 4-man transport capability when you upgrade to the Pionierwagen, but you get the AT gun. So I like painting this. What I did try to do, because I got some spare parts for my detail airbrush, was I tried to add some camouflage. I still did the Dunkelgelb, but tried to add some brown, and one, it's kind of getting washed out of this light a little bit, but it didn't come out all that well. But I weathered it a lot anyways, so I was kind of okay with that, because you'll see here shortly, I picked a red that's more of a rust, or I picked a brown that's more of a rust, a red brown, than a brown that I should have gone with on the next vehicle that I'll show. So I wasn't 100% pleased with that, but I think the vehicle looks good, and I was able to tone it down a lot. See, it doesn't seem as rusty red on this vehicle. What you can see here is there's the L for Panzer Lair. I wasn't sure exactly where we're supposed to go. Decal. Other things I realized, it's not always a lot of fun because you have to line up the numbers perfectly, and the Balkenkreuz is always in the front, and then you have to do it backwards, and it was kind of a pain for me to make sure the decals all lined up right. It's a minor complaint. Brown, you always complain about something, right? So that was a pretty cool little model. Pleased with that. Mudded up appropriately, I think. I think the red letters were only used on the Eastern Front, but they look cool, and I happened to have them, and so I used them. So there's that. There's the Pionierwagen, which in my games I will probably eventually I'll get around to doing the Pioneers. I won't use it as the AT gun. I just like the model. So hopefully my opponents won't be jerks and say, you can't use that because it's not a Hanomag. It's a Pionierwagen. So I'll just treat this for now as a regular Hanomag with the MMG. So there's that. And then the last thing I did, I like tanks. And so on the list, the next thing I was supposed to do was the Panzer IV, and I did the Panzer IV. Here it is. Zoom out. Can I zoom out? There we go, a little bit more room. So here's the Panzer IV. It's the Warlord plastic kit. And I did it with the Scherzen, obviously, and the better gun. Assembly went pretty well, although getting the braces to line up just right and making sure the glue would dry and this didn't like flop this way or fold up against the side of the tracks was kind of a pain. But all in all, I think it came out well. I think it does show up here a little bit more. That the red that I ended up going with, or the brown that I wanted to use, ends up looking a little bit more reddish. So I wasn't completely pleased with that. Went to Dunkelgelb again and added the stripes. I added some kind of alternating green and red, so that's why it doesn't really show up as yellow. I just found this paint scheme online somewhere, and I thought it was cool. Because again, this is stuff all applied by the crews in the field, so there's not a whole lot of uniformity there always. So I use a fair bit of flexibility, and then just decals. I wasn't sure where the L went for the Panzer Lehr, so I threw it on the back here. But now it's kind of mudded up. So this was a lot of fun to weather and mud up. So I like how the panel lines are kind of popping out, and I think it came out well. So I'll have more pictures of this, obviously, when I do the showcase. But although the one thing that's annoying with this antenna, I am constantly knocking it, or bumping it, and it's kind of bending all kinds of different directions. I'm just waiting for it to snap off. I shouldn't have put it on there to begin with. Anyways, again, what a whiner, Jason. Who's complaining? But this turned out really well. So this was the last thing in today for what I'll show in the video today as to what I accomplished over the past 3 weeks. Again, I didn't quite get everything done, so I was supposed to get the Flak 36 and the KFC 7, the half track, which is kind of what I really wanted to finish. That was supposed to be my reward, and I didn't do the Pioneer Squad. Everything else, I think I accomplished. I think so. And so I still have the Pioneers. I have the 88 and the big cool-looking truck. And I have another plastic Hanomag just waiting to be put together. But I'm not in a real rush right now to do that. So I just want to do this video, which now is running on more than 18 minutes. So that's what I accomplished over the past 3 weeks. I have enjoyed watching. I haven't actually spent much time on YouTube because of work and other things. But I've enjoyed starting to catch up and see what other people have done. People have done a lot of things. Personally, I'm pleased with the progress that I made, but I'll talk more about kind of the whole thing when I do release my final showcase video. So I hope all is well with you. I hope to increase my video content soon or return it back to kind of normal levels. But until then, if I don't comment, or hopefully I'll try to comment on other people's videos and be a little bit more active with YouTube. But whether or not I talk to you on your page, I hope you guys are and girls are doing well, and keep on painting, keep on having fun, and keep on wargaming.